What's shaking is bacon, and today I wanted to talk about Bungie's promotional deal with Red Bull gone wrong. Yes, very wrong. And before I get into what recently happened with this thing, I want to talk about why I think it was just plain wrong to begin with. So Bungie's idea was on specially marked Red Bull cans, they would have codes that you could redeem towards Destiny for the Taken King DLC that's to come. And with it, you'll get kind of like a little story arc, some story missions, whatever, that you wouldn't be able to get unless you had these codes. And this is bullshit to me. I'm sorry, like Red Bull, bullshit. Like it's just going together, it's flowing here. So essentially, if I don't buy energy drink, I don't get to experience a piece of Destiny. The things that I should have for actually buying this DLC. Interesting. Snacks making promotional deals with video games is nothing new. In Call of Duty, they have Mountain Dew and Doritos giving them double XP and stuff like that for limited time, say like 45 minutes or whatever. I remember that from Black Ops 2. But the thing is, this isn't just XP. This is something that's substantial. Sure, when we play this game, we think about gear and weapons as what's substantial, but who are they to decide what we want from an expansion? Yeah, I like PvP more than I like PvE, but that doesn't mean I don't like lore. I love the lore of Destiny. That's what drew me into the whole franchise to begin with. I don't really understand how Bungie can say that they did not cut content from this game because they're doing it in our faces now. They've gotten really cocky or something to the point where they can just flaunt content in our face and just say, no, you can't have it. Because imagine being an Xbox player and not purchasing Red Bull. So essentially, you don't get the DLC that PlayStation is getting for the Taken King, that little exclusive timed stuff for a year. And you're also not getting the Red Bull stuff, which probably will be indefinite if you never get a code. You'll never be able to experience that piece of the story. What is that? That's robbery. Why is this happening? And that Xbox stuff, I want to get deeper into that in another video. That'll be coming out really soon. But also, not everyone is buying Red Bull. I guess that's the point of it, to promote Red Bull, but who are you promoting this to? The game is really rated T for teen. So at the bottom line, a 13-year-old kid is supposed to get Red Bull so he can enjoy his game. So he's supposed to be hyped up on Red Bull to play Destiny? How does that make sense? Alright, so parental or medical things holding us back? No, that doesn't matter. You need to drink Red Bull to have fun in Destiny's story. And I remember seeing a stream from Destiny where they were doing like some content stuff on Earth. And they were just looking at the beauty of it or whatever. And one of the devs was saying that his 7-year-old son had reached level 32 at the time. So, okay, say that that's not your kid. Say that's just a consumer's child. You want that 7-year-old drinking Red Bull to enjoy the story. And now mommy and daddy don't drink Red Bull, so who else is drinking it besides the 7-year-old? It does not make sense. It really doesn't. Why did they decide to do this? I don't know. Money? I guess. So yeah, to begin with, I thought this thing was just a terrible idea on Bungie's part. Something as great as the story, something that we already lack a lot of to begin with in this game, is not something you should be cutting. Really isn't something you should be saving for people who want to buy Red Bull. We don't have a lot of story in this game. We need every little piece that we can get. Now recently we've been getting even more bad news when it comes to this Red Bull stuff. So codes are being broken. Codes are being stolen from people who actually purchased these Red Bull cans. So yeah, think back to that 7-year-old. He finally got his Red Bull, but it doesn't work. Why? Because Destiny players aren't stupid. If anything, they're really smart. And actually, it doesn't even really take a genius to crack these codes. They're 6-digit codes that aren't scrambled. Whose idea was this? It doesn't make any sense because it's not like those prepaid cards like PlayStation or Xbox cards that you can just go to, say, GameStop, and they have to check it out, like scan it to the point where you can actually use it. This, you don't need to do that. People are not even leaving their houses. They're just cracking the codes like nothing, like an egg over the frying pan. Eggs and bacon, yum! Someone gets to enjoy the story, but it's not the person who actually purchased the Red Bull with the intention of being able to enjoy their game. Bungie screwed up. Red Bull is just promoting. They just want their name out there, so I'm not really looking at Red Bull here. They just want to be in the video game industry. That's why they're with competitive Call of Duty with Nade Shot and all that stuff. That's great. I love that. But Bungie, why? Why in this sense? Maybe do something with the Crucible. Have a little event going on. Maybe a class item. I don't know. Not necessarily Red Bull printed on it, because that would just be breaking the lore, I guess. But something subtle, something related would be really nice. Yay, I get a code that lets me look pretty. I made a video about looking pretty last time. So do more of that pretty in this regard instead of taking away a story. Because even if I buy it, I might not even be able to play the story, which makes no sense. Now, I'm also going to be making a video about the weekly update that came up on their site yesterday. And nowhere in it did it say anything about these codes or any problems with it. It didn't acknowledge that. But it was talking a lot about the great content that's to come in the Taken King. Yet, they talk about all this content here. They show us what's to come, what great and fascinating things we can expect. A lot of them are just fixes, and some of them are neglectful to things that need to be fixed, like this. This is just a mess, and can they fix it now? I don't really know. They'd have to do something quick to kind of compensate for the people who already lost things that were rightfully theirs. And furthermore, just because this expansion has tons of great additions to the game doesn't mean that you're allowed to cut content from certain people. People who don't want to purchase Red Bull, an energy drink that might not be the best thing for them. People who prefer to play on Xbox, or that's all they have essentially. You should not be cutting content like this. I do not like this business practice at all. And as I said, I am definitely gonna go in depth on that Xbox thing because it's just bullshit piracy. If you happen to be someone who got screwed over by this little Red Bull promotional deal, I hope you get what you deserve. I hope that you get the story content, or they have some type of compensation for you. If you also think that this deal is stupid like me, then I'd like to see it in the comments. Talk to me, because this is just foolishness. We can't allow things like this to pass. I'm not at all against promotional deals. I think it's great and it adds to exposure for both sides. That's just business. But when it comes down to it, it should not be revolving around story elements. It should be, say, cosmetic or a boost towards progression. Something like that would be beneficial for both sides and for the players, and not excluding any players from the content that is within the game. DLC is going downhill, people, and we need to pick it up. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, all that jazz, and I will catch you in the next one.